Welcome to another episode of Open World, your video guest, podcast, wherever you're listening, about video games, localization, and memes. So today's topic, it's about conferences, and I'm here with Ale and Meli, and we're going to be talking about the importance of video game conferences in general, not only for localization or just if you want to get into the industry and you are, I don't know, you're an accountant and you want to get into the industry, maybe a video game conference is what you need, right? Mm-hmm. Do you guys know video game conferences apart Gamescom?
Yes, we have matching t-shirts.
If you didn't notice.
Yeah, or if you're listening to this and not watching us, we have matching shirts.
Yeah, Gamescom was a great conference. In general, I think, video game conferences are really fun because some of them have that B2B section for businesses, and then you have the B2C section, which is really usually just really fun, like all the new
just
games.
Just to experience what you get from the other side of the joystick.
Yeah, I mean, I love them both. I knew video game conferences for the B2C side because I am a consumer. It means, business to consumer because I consume video games. So I love that part. I think that's so much fun. It can get a little bit tiring after being in the B2B side. It's crowded. It tends to get a little bit crowded. But I love the B2B part too because that's where the magic happens. And personally, I believe there are many opportunities in the B2B side of conferences for everyone that wants to get into the video game industry because you can go networking, you can go meeting like new people, maybe just you meet your favorite person in the video game industry in person and you're like, oh my God.
It happened to us at the big festival when we met the creator of
Absolutely.
Diablo, remember?
We met the creator of Diablo and we were like fangirling. So we wanted to make this episode for you if you are doubting yourself, if you want to go to a video game conference, to the B2B side, and you don't feel prepared, you don't feel ready, we got you. We aren't, but we have some amazing tips for you that might help because every conference is different. We have a Gamescom, we have the Tokyo Game Show.
E3, in different parts of the world there are different conferences.
Yeah.
You have E3 in LA, GDC,
G-Star in Korea.
Tokyo Game Show.
Some of the biggest conferences that you can go. But also, I think it is nice when you go to these conferences to leave a little time to go to the BTC.
Yes, so important. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what is the best advice for each of you, right? What is the best advice you could give to someone? Please name one, because I know we're going to start naming like a lot.
Conferences. I have an example.
And advice, talking from your point of view, from your experience, to everyone that's listening, because as you may know, we are translators, we are localizers, and we work for a localization company. So our B2B side of the event is actually going to get and meet new clients, and meet new people and get the connections and get networking, because that's how you get the job going, right? So yeah, if you're a programmer and you want to get into the video game industry, this might relate to you as well, because it doesn't matter which side of the industry are you, like if you're an accountant, if you're a programmer, if you're into design and visuals, I don't know if you're into localization too. But these tips might help you to organize yourself and to get like more prepared to these B2B conferences that can be really exhausting.
I would say, like, first tip, know what your goal is in that conference. For instance, you're attending, I don't know, Game Connection.
Yeah.
Right? And you are a lawyer or an accountant, like you said. try to narrow down what type of contacts you want to create, you want to network with in that conference.
Yeah.
If you're a publisher and you're looking for services, most conferences have a list of attendees. So, and you can use filters. I mean, I think that what I'm trying to say is I'm advising against the bulk contacting with a
just
single
reach
messaging.
everyone. That doesn't
That's
work.
no use. Know why you're going to that conference, and make your networking happen around that.
Around that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think for me, another tip would be, and very related to that, and what you just said, like prepare all of that pre-conference work that you should do, like just because if you're going somewhere and you're making an investment, booking the tickets, everything, you shouldn't just
appear there
like,
hi, I just phoned here.
Yeah,
Hi, this conference is cool.
It's possible that you're gonna meet very interesting people, and but you can make the most out of it if you prepare, and then you do your research with the attendee list, and really select the people you want to meet. You can in some of these conferences have platforms where you can send meeting requests.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All of that work that goes
Makes your
before
job easier.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to say something that might sound a little bit of a creep, but you have to do your research. You have to investigate the people that you're going to meet with, because as Melly mentioned, these platforms, you can see who is attending, you can see who is your potential buyer or your potential person that you're going to speak to. And I think it's so important that you do your research, because maybe that's a point of contact within the company that you want to reach, but maybe it's not in charge of what you really need.
Yeah.
So it's just try to do your research so you don't end up pestering
because
that
it
person.
takes time, but also it will save you a lot of time.
Absolutely.
And also you're mindful of the people's time as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Of
for
course.
instance, you're looking for, I don't know, you're a translator and you're looking to find localization companies, right? And you see on the attendee list that no one is from the HR team, or I don't know, the careers department or whatever. Maybe contact them and say, hey, can you give my contact to someone who I would like to talk to?
Yeah,
right?
that's the magic of networking. Because it happened to us a lot of the times that we get to meet a lot of translators that want to work with us. And the only thing that we can do, because it is not part of our jobs to actually recruit people. So the best that we can do is recommend you to our department that is in charge of recruiting people. But maybe it will be like a waste of energy for you to try to get us to like you. We really like it.
To contact everyone, regardless of their role. Just because, I don't know, I'm gonna take my job for an example. I want to work with a next company, with a AAA publisher company.
Yeah.
And everyone that's attending the conference is not people from the department that I would like to contact. Right? So it's does it make sense for me to contact them, request for a meeting, look around for them, maybe what I'm trying to say is optimize your efforts in the conference, so that you can make your life easier.
I think it's still another tip, now we're going our own tips, is there's a lot of networking events, things happening around the conference, and sometimes are not part of the conference, so that you should always just Google, see if there's things happening, drinks, breakfast before the conference. There's a lot of things happening, and to make the most out of it, it's definitely a great opportunity to meet people, and it's going to happen that you're introduced to someone that is not maybe the right person, but still that contact is very valuable, and that person can be the
link for the other person.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think a great thing about networking is that you get to meet people and then see it from a selfless point of view, where you they refer you, and maybe you meet someone you can refer to, to someone else.
Absolutely.
But maybe you meet someone and it's nothing related to what you do or your industry, but you know someone else who might help them, and you're like, you know what, let me put you in contact with this person.
Yeah.
This might be helpful.
100%.
And I think everything that you kind of give, it comes back. So
Yeah.
it's a nice way of looking at it.
I think that when you say networking, it almost sounds like it's like cold, right? Like the term, but it's actually the entire opposite. I mean, you connect with people,
Absolutely.
on a level that goes beyond just an email or a professional level. You connect with people on a personal level.
What can I get from you? What can you get from me?
I can help you in this way. You can help me that way. Let's connect. I know someone that can help you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you mentioned, Meli, about the new networking events outside the B2B event, because that happens a lot of the times. Maybe you have breakfast, maybe you have drinks, maybe you have a lunch, maybe. So my tip here will be plan a schedule. Make yourself an agenda so you don't look like a headless chicken running everywhere. So you know where you have to be, you know what you have to do, and you have your day planned to work as you want to. I think for me I need organization in my life, and for me it's key.
Team so that everyone knows what the other person is doing.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to this scheduling thing, guys, because how are days during a conference? Because sometimes people see pictures of you in the conference and like you're having a great time and everything, but how is really like a day in a conference?
I think that it depends if you have a booth or if you're just attending, right?
Yeah.
But I like what you said. That's a great advice, to know what you're doing that day. Be mindful
having
of
that schedule all planned makes it a lot easier.
Of other people's times and of what you can or can't do. I mean, how does a day look like? I mean, you have your schedule, you know what you do. I would advise, again, another tip, to leave some room between meetings.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because having 4 back-to-back meetings before you even have lunch, it can take a toll on you when you hit 2-3 p.m.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you did your research right, your scheduling right, I'm guessing that your days are going to be busy.
Yes, they are very intense. That's definitely how I would describe them. There's a lot going on, like very, very, and it can be overwhelming. So I think that all of the, just preparing, researching, and planning ahead, and even if you're already like watching this, and I hope it's helpful, like it's all work that would make it a little easier when you're there, and so you're not like, oh no, where do I go? Like, what do I do? So
absolutely.
Another thing that I would recommend is to have, if you're presenting a service or if you're presenting a game, or if you have something that the person that's meeting you would like them to know, prepare a deck or some sort of pitch, even an elevator pitch, something short and sweet, that if you have an impromptu meeting, you meet someone on an aisle or even on a different booth that you're visiting, for them to know real quick without taking too much of their or your own time.
What you do.
You realize when you're, that's my opinion, right? But when you go to a conference, that you leave your desk job that you might be working for 6 or 8 or 4 hours, to actually be ready to be standing or walking for more than 12 hours. So to me, another great advice is get comfortable, wear comfortable shoes, comfortable clothes, be ready to have, your hygiene products close by, because you're going to be 12 hours and not going to be able to go back to your hotel. Just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because with all this excitement, all of these things happening at the same time, you had great meetings, you had bad meetings, your body is going with you everywhere. So be sure to
you're not feeling it in the day, but then at the end of the day, and then you can feel it like the next morning. I don't know if I can come
make sure that you're drinking enough water. That's so important too. Make sure you take breaks between meetings, like you said.
A good breakfast.
that you are eating properly and you're not only eating fast food and everything,
And
because
also people to take notes. It's so important.
I wanted to go to that, because your brain, as part of your body that you have to take care of, is going to get so exhausted at a moment, and you're not going to be able to remember everything that you heard in a meeting.
The most notes that you can take, it's gonna be a lot easier for the actor, because every meeting you, maybe in that moment you'll be like, oh no, I'll remember, like I'll contact this person to tell them this, and then at the end of the day you have all this contact on your like,
oh
or
my
maybe
god,
the
who was
next,
he?
the following
You
week
have
when
to
you have time.
remember.
You have to. You're like, oh no, what did that?
Who was this guy?
It would be so good if I had taken notes.
Yes,
I mean, it happens. So
and that takes
from
me
experience.
absolutely. That takes me to the other part of B2B conferences, because everything is great when you are at the conference, when you are at the networking events, when you are chill, when you are relaxed, having like a few drinks with some partners, and you get to meet them and you get to have a real great time, because they all work in the video game industry. They all know what it's like. But there is an after part of B2B conferences that it's the most important, because we are talking about follow-ups. Following up after you meet someone, it's so important, and you have to make yourself memorable. So when you do the follow-up email, they will remember you.
For sure. And if you don't put all the work, like you planned ahead, you gave everything, and then you went to a conference, you follow all your schedule. But if you don't do all of the work that goes afterwards, so it's definitely like the most important. All of the things.
And for that, the notes that you took help a lot, and also make that follow up customized, I would say. You talk to someone about something, talk about it in your email. Don't send the same messaging,
standard
standard messaging to everyone,
For me, it's also remember of the meetings that maybe were not that good, and maybe you met someone that actually it was a mismatch, because it can happen. It was a mismatch. They don't need your services. You don't need their services. But it was great contacting and having each other's card for future references, because if I have someone that might want to work with you, I can give them your card. But be mindful on taking those notes too, because at the end of the day, when you are doing your follow-up and you find yourself with a name and you don't have notes, you only have a card, and you send them like, I'm selling you a generic email, I'm trying to sell you this. The person is going to be like, but we talked about this. Don't you remember? And that's when it can get tricky, because it might look like you did not do your research properly, and you are like kind of going back again with the same topic, and the person is clearly not interested or is not going to be able to help you at the moment. So be mindful to take notes in those meetings that go so well, and also on the networking opportunities and the meetings that maybe are a mismatch, because it's important too to have those contacts and to remember what do they do, how can we help each other, and I think
totally. I agree.
For sure that can definitely help for the future, because a lot of people that you meet in the conferences, you will meet them again maybe the following year if you attend. So it's also just really nice and enjoyable, because then you sometimes make friends, sometimes you see them again the following year and you catch up, and it's part of it just makes it easier when you see a friendly face when you're there, someone that you already know.
Absolutely. And another advice I want to give, sometimes there are like networking events that happened after the days of the event, so you have parties, you have dinner parties, and remember to sleep, please. It sounds so silly, I know, but sometimes you can get so caught up with everything. Take care of your voice, because you're going to be singing, you're going to be talking a lot with a lot of people. Like maybe you go to a party, you're going to be singing with the dude you want to make business with. Take care
Yeah.
of your
Karaoke,
voice.
is
Try
this a
not.
karaoke?
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. Take care of your voice. Take care of yourself. I think that's one of the best advices for this. And yeah, preparing for a conferences is always tiring, but it's always so much fun. And yeah, you end
and
up
rewarding. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
you find yourself in a position you wouldn't have to think of, or you know, meeting someone you never imagined. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope we helped you guys out when you are preparing for a conference. Also, remember to enjoy. I think that's the biggest part of all.
And a great part of our industry as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
If you have the chance
If
to
you love
attend,
video games and you have the chance to attend these events, you're going to have a great time.
I
I
mean,
can assure
everyone
you.
who also loves video games
Yeah.
is surrounded by people.
Yeah.
It's always so much fun. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. If
Thank
you
everyone.
have another tip and you want to share it with us, please leave a comment down below because we are going to be reading them.
or if you have more questions.
If you have more
Yeah.
questions, if
We
you
would
want
love to
to, reach out to each other, we have a Discord server for you to join. So please be mindful of that too. Thank you so much for joining us. And this was another episode of Open World. Bye bye.